and welcome back to the DoneDeal YouTube channel. I'm David OC and today we're reviewing the all-new Škoda Octavia. Now if you're considering buying an Octavia, don't even watch the review, just go out and buy it because it is without a doubt the best value and best all-round car on the market. And I always say it's such a good all-rounder, but the Octavia is absolutely fantastic and we're going to explore that in this review. Now prices start at about 23,000 euro for the normal one. This is the Combi, the estate version, and prices for that start around 25,000 euros. Now, if you would like to search for Octavias for sale currently on DoneDeal, you can hit the link up there and look through our trusted dealer network. But for now, let's take a more in-depth look at the Škoda Octavia. So I mentioned this is the all-new Škoda Octavia, but to the naked eye it hasn't changed all that much. There are a couple changes. The grille, the lights are now all one piece as opposed to being separated. The interior has changed. It has a new steering wheel, there's a spoiler on the back, and there's a few different engine options which we will talk about shortly. But most importantly, the chassis itself, the MQB chassis that has been ever so popular in the Volkswagen Group, remains the same. So it is keyless entry into the Octavia, and what a mighty fine key it is. It's one of the new Volkswagen Group keys and I'm a big fan of them as a whole. Now let's take a run through this interior. So the biggest striking differences, there's two. Number one is the size of the big screens. You've got a huge screen here and then you've got a 10-inch digital display here as well, and the other one is the steering wheel. It's now a 2-spoke steering wheel, so if you notice this spoke here is missing. Now it's kind of a risky thing to do, but it's really paid off, and you might even be thinking that's just such a nerdy thing to pick up on, but in my mind the Octavia is a mile muncher car. Taxi drivers, sales reps, they spend a lot of time in these cars, and when you do go on a long distance journey it's so nice to put your hand there and just chill instead of having them up here. This is quite an intense position. Now my driving instructor will kill me if he watches this, but I promise that having the hand there is actually quite nice. Now other features, let's begin with storage. So big old glove box there, which is nice and handy. You've got a phone tray here. Now you can actually get that to be wireless charging. It's about 320 euro upgrade. It's up to you whether you think it's worth it, but there is USB-C charging points. You've got two cup holders here. They're a little bit small, so if this car was in America you wouldn't be able to get your big gulp in there. You've got more storage under here, and being a Volkswagen Group car, the adjustable armrest. Absolutely love that. And that's it for the storage. In terms of seating position, like so much movement, the seats move and the seats are gloriously comfortable. Now before we get going on the infotainment system, I have to explain there's 4 levels of trim on an Octavia. There's the Active, there's the Ambition, there's the Style, which is this one, and then there's the RS model. So this being the Style, you get some nicer features. You get a bigger screen here. So in the standard one it's just a small 8-inch screen. This is the bigger one. You get bigger wheels and there's a few other benefits like keyless go. So as I hit the button, it's obviously the keys over here, you don't have to insert it into the slot. And what I really like about this is it's wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is fantastic. And I say it in every single video, but Apple CarPlay is tough to beat. It works really well. And there's some nice shortcuts here to just quickly go out into the navigation or whatever it might be. Now, the big one here is that all of the buttons are nearly gone. So if you want to adjust your climate, yes, there's a shortcut to go to climate here. However, all the buttons are here, so you're pressing it there to lower and rise the temperature. There's heated seats on this, which is absolutely lovely. And overall, the infotainment system is really good. You've also got this big digital dash over here. And now the digital dash, the Volkswagen Group one, I think it's one of the best in the business. So you can kind of change your views to wherever you might be. You can have your normal recreational speedo on the right, revs on the left. You can put a big map on it. You can have your distance control, which we'll talk about more in driving. And overall, it's a really good system. It works, it's fluid, and I think overall you will be very happy with it. In the rear, the Octavia, first of all, the doors open really wide. You get your baby seat, you plonk it in here. The ISOFIX points are phenomenally easily acceptable, and I feel like the type of owner of an Octavia probably has a small little family to go along with it, so those things are very important. Now, Space back here, if your children have grown up, is actually quite nice. Loads of knee space, pretty good headspace, and considering it's got the €1,200 optional sunroof, there is actually good headspace. I'd actually spec that. That is one thing. It's €1,200. I know it's a lot of money, but resale value will be good on it, and also it's so bright, it really livens up the car. Other features, you've got some door cards here with a bit of space. You've got USB-C points here. You've got a folding down armrest with some cup holders, which is quite nice. And you've got a nice little pouch here. Now there's two options, one, a big one, but there's also the option here to plop in your phone, and you can actually watch YouTube there. Now I'd suggest hitting DoneDeal up on YouTube, subscribing to their channel, because I hear they've got some pretty good videos. Anyway, enough self-plugging, let's go check out the boot. The boot of the Octavia is its party piece. It's 640 litres, but if you're a normal person, you probably have no idea how much that is. But it's big enough to fit a human being, or anything really, because you could actually fit the world and its mother in here. It's absolutely gigantic, but it's not only gigantic but also really practical. So it comes with loads of nice features like a 12-volt socket. You've got storage, you've got plenty of little hooks for your shopping, you've got these really practical levers to pull down the seats. Now they will cost you an extra €101. Well spent though, because it saves you running around the side every time you want to fold the seats. So it's very practical, and being honest, it's actually quite comfortable. So before we take it for a drive, I'm going to sit in, I'm going to have a little bit of a nap. I'm still figuring out the button though. There we go. So to drive the Škoda Octavia, I think this is probably the third time I've said this in the review, but this is the Octavia's party piece. It drives phenomenally. This one has a 2-litre TDI engine, live on the diesels, and it's absolutely magnificent. It eats up the miles. It's incredibly fuel efficient. You'll get up to 4.3 litres per 100 kilometers, which is very efficient. It's got a automatic gearbox. It's fantastic. It's smooth through the gears. The engine, if you're to criticize it, is maybe a little bit too loud, but it's a diesel, so is it really even too loud? And overall, obviously the seating position's nice. I've got a head-up display. Now that I think is €700 odd, and it's not worth getting. But other than that, it's fantastic. Driving here, it's really good. It handles the road very smoothly. Then when you're actually on the motorway, this particular car has a €700 option, which is called the Driver Travel Assist Pack, I think, and that includes things like adaptive cruise control, so it'll slow down when the car in front of you slows down, lane assist. It also has traffic sign recognition, so it will slow down for you. We discussed that in the Leon and in the Golf, and it's not my favorite option, but it is very nice to have it. So overall, to drive, this car has to be one of the nicest on the market. It's so comfortable, and value, it's just insane. I know we said that it starts around 23,000–24,000 euros. Realistically, I think the sweet spot with a spec is probably around 30–32. This particular one I think is about 43,000. It's the style pack, and it's mighty stylish, but it's probably got a few too many extras that you don't really need. Things like that heads-up display is unnecessary. As far as suspension goes, we're actually on a really bumpy section of the Dublin Mountains. Normally when we're filming a car, we actually stop here because it's very bumpy. It's a bog road, but this just kind of floats. It's just so chill and mellow, and it just drives, and it takes you where you want to go with absolute ease. And I'm basically selling you the car now, but I really am that fond of the Octavia, particularly when it comes to driving. Now in terms of modes, and obviously there is the RS models that have 245 brake horsepower, and they're fast, and they're very similar to a Golf GTI actually, but this one obviously just being the diesel, it doesn't have any different drive select modes. Now you can have that as an option, completely unnecessary. In this automatic version, you can put the gearbox down into sport mode. It's a little bit more responsive, and there's plenty of torque, and that's the thing about diesels. The torque's phenomenal. but there's no crazy different modes. The suspension isn't adaptive, but it doesn't need to be, because it just hits the nail on the head right from the get-go. So there are a lot of different engine options. In fact, between engines and gearboxes, you have about 12 different variants. So let's really quickly run through them, and at the end I'll tell you which one you should actually buy. So to start out, there is a 1 litre 110 horsepower. It's available in manual or DSG. The DSG, the automatic one, comes as a mild hybrid. Then there's a 1.5 TSI engine, petrol, also automatic. Again, it's mild hybrid, manual is just normal. Then you have the 1.4 IV, that's the kind of plug-in hybrid one. It's 204 brake horsepower, brilliant engine. Then you have the diesel side of things. So first of all, you've got a 2 litre diesel, 115 horsepower, great engine. You've got then the 2 litre 150 brake, which is this bad boy here. That's the one to go for, in my opinion, particularly if you're an Octavia driver. Then you've got the RS models, and those ones come with a little bit more power, so you can get that in a diesel with 200 horsepower. Again, these are all available DSG or manual. And then you have the petrol RS models, and you can get an IV, a plug-in hybrid RS model, which is very controversial, but it will have 245 brake horsepower. So that is a lot of engines and numbers and stats. If you're thinking about buying one, if you want a petrol one, go for the 1 litre. It's 110 horsepower, it's more than sufficient. But if you're an Octavia driver and you're going to be doing that mile munching, which is what this car is all about, then get the 2 litre TDI 150 brake horsepower. So at this point in any DoneDeal car review, we talk about 3 of our favourite and 3 of our least favourite. And being honest, I'd be insulting the Octavia if I was to name 3 of my least favourite. The only one I can really say is that only one colour comes as standard, and then you've got to upgrade to metallic paint. So let's just get straight into our favourite. And number 1 on our favourite is the famous Škoda umbrella. So chances are you live in Ireland, it's going to be wet. Never fear, the umbrella is here. Number 2 is that there is no fake exhaust down here, and that's the thing about the Octavia. It's a very honest car. It's not trying to cheat you into thinking it's got dual exit exhaust. It's just got a back bumper. And number 3, let's just say the quirkiness continues. So when you open up your petrol cap, what do you think's in there? It is a de-icer, which it's so cold that I have no doubt tomorrow morning I'm going to need this. Very, very handy. I love it, Skoda. Well, there you have it. That is DoneDeal's review of the Škoda Octavia. And I said at the beginning, and I'll say it again, just go buy it. It's one of the best value cars on the market. And if you do buy it, get the 1 litre petrol or get the 2 litre TDI. Or if you're feeling really brave and you want everyone's respect, get an RS model whilst they're still around and don't go fully electric. Now, one thing I didn't mention is Octavia's, that 2 litre engine, that will go forever. You'll get 6, 7, 800,000 kilometers, no problem, as long as you keep it serviced at a main franchise dealer. And what's more is actually, the Octavia hold their value almost better than any other car in the market. And there's great finance deals, whether you go PCP, hire purchase. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.